Alexa is as powerful as Amazon. Be afraid. Okay, cool. There we go. Here we are. Well, it was a great party until you woke up. You've been attending Catastrophe, which is a large, wild party festival experience. Moves from place to place. Currently, the place is one of the deserts in mid-Nevada, one of the places that Burning Man couldn't quite make it to. Catastrophe is not quite as large or quite as famous as Burning Man, which of course makes it all the more interesting for you. You were doing whatever it was that you were doing, maybe dancing, maybe sleeping, maybe having a particularly enjoyable snog with some attractive person of your preferred genders and/or species, and then you found yourself drifting into the darkness. It feels cold, chilly, a bit dusty. When you open your eyes, you're standing perhaps a mile, maybe more, away from the lights and the sound of Catastrophe. And you can see the lights, you can hear the sounds, but they're muffled by fog or mist or smoke or distance. You're not entirely sure what. You didn't think that last brownie was that powerful, but maybe. You're standing with 5 people you've never seen before, or maybe you've seen them in passing, but you haven't actually met them or talked to them. And whatever it was you were holding, whatever it was you were doing is gone. Now it's just you and whatever you were wearing at the time. When a voice says, a deep but discernibly feminine voice says, "Oh, so you're the special ones." It's a long pause. You feel the thump of the sound of the party that you were just at a moment ago resonating through your feet and through your bones, and kind of behind your ears, and maybe even deeper than the skin itself. And like I said, you look around at the four strangers around you, and the distant specter of what was your home away from home. What do you do?
Yeah,
Right
like I
now,
already know I'm
I'm used to
special,
this
but like
kind of
where are
thing
we?
being a. I get my concoctions usually pretty right, and I've never had this experience before, so I'm willing to bet this is something entirely new. Now I'm
Phil,
open to it. I'm hoping everyone here is open to this ride too, because whatever it is, I don't think this one's on me.
Usually it takes 3 brownie to get me this far. I only had half one. They were not very good.
Yeah, the brownie was kind of drier than usual.
Too crunchy, cuts mouth. Bad.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been paying much closer attention to everything else. I have been ingesting, and definitely there was nothing that I did not intentionally take into myself.
Huh.
Good on you. Good on you. Always.
You must
smart.
have very small tolerance.
There was nothing small with what I took into myself last night.
Oh,
Oh, little cheeky there.
It's funny joke because it's very funny.
Well, at least, says the voice, you all are amusing.
Oh, we seem to have a host. Although I
Oh.
can't quite see you.
Oh, would you prefer to see me? I thought that I was already obvious.
This seems like bad idea. This 4 brownie bad idea. Like
Yeah, this seems like some, choose the form of the destructor Ghostbusters kind of trick question here. Do we want to see
wait,
Well,
that idea to the party?
very simple question. Disembodied voice. Are you large marshmallow?
Well, no.
All right, then that is all my concerns. Back into the therapist.
I would have thought that you were all familiar with me by now. After all, you've been in me for days. But I understand that assuming a personable form might be in order. So you see the fog around you begin to swirl into and coalesce into a kind of a luminescent figure of a woman in belly dance gear. Kind of modern tribal belly dance gear, but the details of the gear keep shifting and changing, and the details of her features keep shifting and changing. One moment she's black with dreadlocks, the next moment she's a white girl with green hair. Next, she's kind of androgynous. The next moment she's very discernibly, very discernibly voluptuous. That her form, such as it is shifting and changing almost faster than your eyes can almost faster than your eyes can follow, and then eventually kind of settles into an indeterminate a person of indeterminate ethnicity, is androgynous, very definitely attractive, with long black hair and purple belly dance garb, and she seems to glow with a sort of a pulsating luminescence, very similar, in fact, to the pulsation of the light of the festival that you were just in. And she says, "Is this better?"
I'm gonna look back at the festival and then back at her a couple of times to see if how closely those lights are matching each other.
Exactly.
You are you.
You're very
Please.
right.
Are you the party?
Yes.
Why, yes.
She's party lady. Probably has name, but
Oh,
so many brownie.
I am Catastrophe.
Ah, catastrophe. Good name. I like that name. I will name my child that. I won't.
So looking around at the other, what do you all see when people look at you? Who do they see? What do they see? What sort of people are you all standing with?
Snafu dresses like he's tall and very scraggly, all lean muscle, like somebody who used to run a bunch of track, and some probably like 80s punk with some cut jeans, but you can tell that like the phrase had been kind of braided, so it's punk and it's kind of grunge but very intentional. And everything about him feels like he should be in his 20s, but he's definitely looks like he's older 50s, with gold frame horn rim glasses,
Cool. Thank
tied
you.
up in a ponytail in the back.
Primordial Joe looks like a bunch of cavemen threw a rave and it exploded.
I love it.
Yeah. It's all kinds of danglies, but they're like bits of bone or just random things that he sort of tied around himself.
I am not caveman. I am rave man.
Yes. It's a good idea. Well, it was a good idea 5 brownies in. So it's...
Yeah, everybody else?
brownie scale of sanity.
Yes. Pens, Lysor, what do people see when they see you?
Dude, they like see like a guy who's really big on maybe the 80s, but like pink mohawk and shades and beard and Star Wars shirt. And he's he's always typically has instruments with him, and I don't know if he does right now, but loop stations and whatnot. You get the feeling he's into music.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you. And Pen, Doe?
Well, Alwyn is short and has silver hair, long silver hair, and has flowers woven into her hair, and is of medium build, and carries a bag that she keeps with her tarot cards and other tools for healing, for divination and healing.
Cool. Thank you. And Pen?
So long, multicolored dye hair, kind of weird braids periodically throughout it. A dress that, looks probably like either like could have been Ren Fair or kind of hippie-ish or stuff. She's got a bag full of herbs with her. Definitely like got definitely like some fingers are just covered in jewelry, couple necklaces, and kind of has like almost like a condescending sort of look. Just like kind of a little bit thinking I'm a little bit better than others.
What am I doing with these peasants?
A bit. Feels like maybe like thinks learned more, like almost thinking.
Stevie Nicks goes to Ren Fair. And the voice says, well, you are certainly an August company, aren't you? Well, have you been enjoying yourselves?
If I can remember, yes.
It's had its pleasures. It's had its down disappointments. definitely found some more interesting things to collect.
I'm glad about the collection. I'm sorry about the disappointments. I try not to disappoint anyone, but well, catastrophe is about change and transformation, and well, transformation is, as I think you already know, is not without its costs.
But of
Like,
course.
is your name Catastrophe?
Well, yes, and she kind of does this very, you see, it was like a slow motion belly dance spin with her arms out and her hair flying and some scarves that she has on just kind of swirling for a moment. You notice the mist around her swirls as she moves, and then she stops. She says, "Isn't it obvious?"
Right.
He's
You weren't
impressive.
kidding. You were there for my first wedding ceremony. You were pretty much there the entirety of my second marriage.
Ah, yes, that was a. What were you thinking, dear?
Not a lot, but man, a
Free
ride.
brownie. Free brownie.
Oh, there were far more than 3 brownies, Joe.
Well, I just aimed what he had.
Yeah.
That sounds like a 3 brownie marriage.
This isn't. I think that 3 brownies was probably conservative for that marriage.
Yeah.
I am glad, however, that you got out of it eventually.
Eventually. So what are we doing today, Catastrophe?
Well, I do like that you got to the point. As you've probably imagined, being me has certain challenges. I mean, I can appear to you, and I can hold space for multitudes, and yet there are things that I just simply can't do in this incarnation. And well, this evening, that, she says, gesturing back behind you, back behind her, is one of them. And as she points back, or gestures back behind herself, you notice that there's a figure sort of rising up out from one of the particularly large tent, a tent that all of you recognize because you've spent time in this tent yourselves at some point in the festival, but you can't remember why or how you were in the tent or what you were doing there or what happened there, which for some of you is, sort of par for the course, but others of you are like, wait a minute. I think if I remember that, I'd remember why I remembered that, but what's the fact that there's a ephemeral but increasingly dense figure, almost like a sort of a dancing ghostly squid, spread out over that tent and sort of whipping its tentacles across ever larger sections of Catastrophe, the festival area, might have something to do with why you can't remember. As you look at it, as you look at that figure, you notice that it's very disconcerting, almost a kind of a greasy feel sliding across your skin as you look at it. And through the thump of the music, you catch a faint sound that I could tell just from your real life expressions. It's about that disconcerting. And Catastrophe says, I am joy. I am change. I am challenge. That is something else. And I cannot act against it because there is joy there. There is challenge there. There's certainly change there, but it's not right. It's not clean. It's not me, and it's not mine, and I do not like it there. And the voice deepens to almost a growl on there. It has no place in me.
Good to know.
And then she bows her head for a moment and says, if you were to look into it and perhaps see what you could do with it, well, what would you like from me in return?
I mean, I want to be the greatest hacksaw that ever was.
Well, while I'm afraid I cannot affect the world outside of myself, I can assure you whatever it is that you like within catastrophe. Fame, generosity, gifts,
Kick ass
lovers, attention, silence, solitude, sleep, a state of perpetual intoxication, perhaps a state of perpetual serenity. Whatever it is within catastrophe, within me, I may grant you.
What about 50% of my memories back?
I
Don't want
can,
any more than that, but just want to remember the good parts. The good parts, that would be nice.
I could probably arrange for you to remember the best parts of catastrophe and add wonderful memories to that if you so desire.
Yeah.
Snafu.
You got
has a
me.
book-
All right. I'm in.
Snafu has a book on him, and almost with this kind of like, kind of look in the book, like snaps the book shut and is like, could I ask for something possibly simple? By the end of this, could I just have one dance?
That would be wonderful. She holds her hands and she bows to you. She says, that would be wonderful and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll DJ that dance.
I hope you do. That would make it spectacular. I have a feeling it's already going to be a little spectacular.
So what do we call that inky squid thing? What the fuck?
Craig.
Well,
Never
she
like Craig's. Old roommate. He's the asshole.
yes. She has her own name. I'm afraid you'd need to ask her that.
Ah, that's fair. So not Craig. I will go with not Craig until then.
Well, who's feeling brave? We can go ask its name.
So
Lysor is into the idea of being like perpetual amazing DJ. Also feeling confused on like, do we just live here now? Do we ever get out? Do I have it? Is there any kind of like equivalent insight check to know if catastrophe is generally like good or if we're trapped?
okay, so make a, what is your, let's see, that would be, I think that'd be like perception plus enigmas. So do you know how on each of these dots, you roll one 10-sided dice. Generally in the storyteller system, you combine an attribute with an ability. Sometimes you'd be rolling your arete or your willpower, but if that comes up, then I'll mention it. But generally, if you're trying to perform a task, you'd be rolling attribute, dealing with that task, plus an ability, dealing with that task. If you don't have an ability that deals with that task, then you just roll the attribute. What you want to do is hit the is beat the difficulty. The difficulty is a target number. If I say like the difficulty is 7, then you want to roll 7 or higher. And so for you, Slicer, please roll your perception plus enigmas with a difficulty. Sorry, what?
Can I do that
Yep.
same roll?
Yeah, anybody who wants to can make the same roll. Difficulty 6.
And it's rolling a D10.
Yes, and every one that you hit, that every one that you roll that is 6 or better is one, counts as one success.
It's perception and what?
Enigmas. Enigmas is a knowledge. It's in the 3rd column over.
I got a 10, a 10, an 8, and a 7.
So that would be a fuck yes. And you
Alright.
rolled 2 10s? Yeah, re-roll those just for the heck of it.
You said it was an enigma,
Yeah.
enigmas, and what?
Yeah, perception plus enigmas.
Then I got another 8.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you got 5 successes. You get like the whole textbook. Yes, Joe.
I was just saying I got 3.
Oh, you got 3 successes. Okay, cool.
I certainly still have feet.
No
I got a
success.
1, a 2, and a 3.
Are you
Oh.
sure you have
Ow.
feet?
Ow.
I'm pretty sure they're
That
either
seems
feet
questionable
or they're-
now.
Their hands with stubby fingers.
I had a 1, a 10, a 9, a 9, and a 6. So.
Okay, so yeah, you got some successes.
Alright.
So a 1, a 10, yeah, you got 2 or 3 successes.
I
Okay.
just thought it was funny. I had the 1 and the 10 to counteract each other
Mhm.
horribly. So
Yeah. 1 success, and you can roll the. Basically, all of you are successful. Just Slice Sword here gets the whole treatment. So, yes, catastrophe is what you would call or what you think of as an embodiment. This kind of literally the zeitgeist, the spirit of, well, I guess it'd be Zeit, whatever the German equivalent of place is. The entity that you are talking to and that has kind of literally spirited you away somewhere else is essentially an incarnation of the festival herself. That she's gathered gathered strength and gathered personality and gathered more and more of a sense of identity, metaphysical identity, with each year and with each new place that she has visited, with each person bringing their own things to the festival. And so she could be many things. Obviously, there are elements of her that you perceive that are joyful, that are celebrant, that are transformative. And there are elements of her that are very sad and depressed. There are elements of her that are a little scary, predatory, angry. For the witch and the primordial shaman and the voodoo practitioner, these are perfectly normal elements of life. For the reality hacker and I'm sorry, which are you playing again? You're playing the ecstatic, right? Okay, so you have the ecstatic. So basically, you're all getting the impression that she is infinite. She contains multitudes, and some of those the majority of those multitudes are benevolent. Some of them are not.
Got it.
We have a kitty attack. And so, can you trust her? Probably. She obviously has enough power to have taken you from wherever you were and whatever you were doing and put you here.
That doesn't mean trust. That
Right,
and
exactly.
she represents this festival, which is definitely, yeah. This is the description.
Mm-hmm. Catastrophe, catastrophe literally means transformation, or it also means disaster. It means something drastic that changes things. Well, she's certainly changed.
Before this party, we were living in like homes, normal apartments, or
Oh no, you were all attending the party. You were all attending the festival of whatever, what your own free will of whatever it was you were doing at the time. It's when you were doing the festival, you were doing something and then kind of just blacked out and wound up here. And most of you were probably enjoying the festival. I leave it to each one of you to decide exactly what it was you were doing before this began. But in any case, you definitely get a sense of she means well. that doesn't necessarily mean she'll do well.
There's probably not enough sage to remove that darkness.
Well, another thing that you, another
Different type
thing.
of sage.
You probably were thinking about burning something else, I'm sure.
I see no functional difference between these two things.
So one of,
Snafu's into it. Snafu's into chaos is chaos, and
Mhm.
it's all about how you control it. It's just the mindset. Snafu's into it. Snafu's into it's definitely a of what you make of it, and I make what I want of my mind, and I can make my mind this way, and I can make it that way. Can be either way. Snafu's in.
okay.
It also sounds like catastrophe needs healing. And that's my job.
You have just nailed it. Yep. You absolutely nailed it. That's underneath the sort of the theatrical flair there. You catch a definite sense of woundedness. You catch a definite sense of hurt, and a definite sense of, I need to ask for help, and I hate asking for help, and I have to, but I'll give you stuff. And it's a little bit of desperation, which seems odd for a spirit this as powerful as something as the embodiment of a festival.
Healing can also be very catastrophic.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about your arm, but well, there was the gangrene. Sorry, we had to go and cut the
Inside
cancer
her
out.
like this, of course it's going to be that much more painful to work through.
Uh-huh.
You were in the way of my bet. I'm sorry.
Do I understand correctly that these tentacles, that the festival, that she is the tent and the tentacles are over her?
It seems to you more like almost more like a tumor. Not like she's the tent and the tentacles are through her, but more like she's the festival and the tentacles are a tumor kind of whipping through her body. In fact, which ones of you have, and how many dots do you have of prime or spirit spheres? That would be these two over here.
I have 2 in spirit.
Okay.
2 prime.
2. Okay. And the rest?
I have 1. I have 2 in prime and 1 in spirit.
Okay.
2 in prime and 1 in spirit.
Okay.
I have 2 too.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. So what all of you can sense, what all of you sense is there's a phenomenal amount of energy, a phenomenal amount of life essence, call it what you will, quintessence, ki, chi, whatever. There's a phenomenal amount of it pulsating through this festival. What those of you with spirit notice is that there is also you're feeling a kind of a pull at your soul or your spirit, however you want to perceive it. You're feeling a pull of your energy and your sacred self that's being drawn out against your will, not by the festival, but by the thing over it. You can also sense, those of you with prime 2 can sense that those tentacles are pulling energy, pulling life essence from around the festival outside of the tent, but that it is most concentrated in the tent, which any of you who are using your arts or your sciences to view that tent are recognizing this huge pulsating like a green heart. Not visually a heart, but it's pulsating like kind of like a fog of heart at the base of that tentacle, that tentacled cloudy thing.
I feel like, yeah, we definitely want to help you. Like, do you have some equipment and stuff for us? We could take care of this.
Well, you have many skills and talents. That's why you're here. I do know that you in particular, depend maybe more than others on technological gear. You can, of course, go to your tent and retrieve what you need. In game terms, basically going back to your tent means getting access to the stuff that you're not carrying, but that is listed here. Here, really. Every got four pages, and every one of them comes up except the one that I'm trying to reach. You can get the equipment. Basically, right now you are there with what you are carrying. You can go back to your tents and get your equipment if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like my stuff. Whatever we're gonna do, let's maybe swing by if it's time.
It can be arranged.
Tent.
And the rest of you?
Snafu's good. Usually carries
I'm
on.
gonna go
what
look
he
at the thing. I'm gonna go look at the thing.
Okay, so all of you, she starts walking toward that pulsating green light, and you notice the fog and the chill and that pulsating beat get deeper and darker and louder. The further she walks into, do any of you follow her?
Oh yeah, Snafu's right on.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'm right next to Snafu.
Okay. Anyone not follow her? No?
I'll hang in the back, feeling.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're beside each other, and I'm like probably about I'm easily about 12 feet behind them. Definitely need to have my, smell plus germ step behind them.
I am just right on top of it because I have empathy of 4. And so my heart and my spirit are just like deeply attached to Catastrophe and her plight.
Thank you. She is hurting and you want to help her. Thank you. Yes, you're absolutely right.
I'm gonna parkour off something because I have parkour.
It's all flat.
Because it's a skill and it says on the sheet I
man.
can do it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You can parkour once you get back to the festival. You can parkour. Right now, it's all really, really, really flat.
Okay.
I kind of disappear for a second because I'm stealthily, and they kind of don't really see where I kind of blend in through the things. And
Okay. So cool, Penn. As you're fading back away from the other ones, you feel that darkness and that coldness and these tendrils of mist start to kind of crawl over you, and more crawling, like wash, like as if you're standing under a cascade of foam or of dry ice, and it's chilling and scary, and you think you can sense something behind you or around you that feels stronger and hungrier the further you get or the further you stand away from the rest of them.
as I make that note, I return to those that have that extra positive, that extra, what is her name? I want to call her Chaos, but I know that's wrong.
Catastrophe.
Catastrophe. Thank you. I
Catastrophe.
knew Chaos was wrong.
Close.
I think I've already called her chaos like twice.
Yeah.
Catastrophe as more positive energy and move towards that almost light energy. And I kind of share that I let them know, I'm like, as we separate, that darkness has a stronger pull, that we might need to stick close to one another.
As you were moving up closer, you thought you almost kind of half heard crying and maybe some raised voices, like yelling, way in the background. once you get in close to the other, once you get in close to the rest of them, those sounds fade. But you definitely heard some disconcerting noises when you were away from everyone else.
Interesting.
Do I notice that she seems disturbed by this? Or are you disturbed by this?
I don't know.
I kind of make a like look like this and just kind of keep it to myself. Don't really say much, but I do say the part about, that we need to stick together. Seems like when we get away from catastrophe, that it seems like her warmth and light kind of, we need to stay together because there was a chill when I stepped away.
Can I use my can I use the correspondence sphere to like try and sense the thing, get like a better sense of it, even if I have to, feed it details about me, not about anything else, but just random details of primordial Joe's life.
Okay. What are you trying to sense, and how are you trying to?
I'm trying to sense sort of like how closely it's tied to catastrophe, whether it
Which
is
the green thing, or
the green thing,
darkness,
yeah,
or-
the green thing in the tentacles are,
okay.
yeah, basically see if they're direct, like how directly tied are they, how much they're in, like if they are alien to catastrophe or an extension of.
Okay. Cool. What are you doing to do that?
I am, let's see, so I have my I have the cards, my instruments of chance here, crossroads, dances. I'm going to take 2 playing cards, specifically the 2 jokers, because they're the only ones that are like exactly alike.
Mhm.
I'm going to stick one on my forehead,
Cool.
and hold one like kind of so I can see it, so it looks like it's on the forehead of the thing.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of going to make this like do a little bit of like a sway there to get the
Neat.
some communion.
Neat. I like that. Yeah. And just from a mechanical standpoint, what Joe is doing is using focus. And in Mage, especially Mage 20, focus is paradigm plus practice plus instruments. Paradigm is why I believe I can do what I do.
Mhm.
Practice is how I do what I do. Instruments is how I use what I use when I do what I do. And Joe, that was an excellent explanation of what you're doing there. So roll your Arete, which I believe all of you have Arete 3. I'm not sure, but that's 1 6-sided die for every dot in that.
Okay. Wait, were we supposed to be using 6-sided dice?
10-sided. Sorry, did
Oh,
I
okay.
say 6-sided?
Okay, yeah, I panicked.
I'm
I was like,
sorry.
that was not what I rolled
Like,
earlier.
apparently I cheated way
I'm
bad
sorry.
earlier, so.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 6-sided.
Is it Arete plus what?
Just Arete.
Okay, just Arete. All right, I got.
Okay. And this is coincidental, so difficulty 4.
Okay, then I have a 7, an 8, and a 10. So
Nice. Okay, yeah. So
and another 7. I don't know if there's the 10 again. Is the 10 again? Is this one or?
you could. It's not an official rule, but
Okay, that's fair.
So yes, actually, to answer your question, yes, this is a part of catastrophe, but it's also sort of like it's like something. Again, going with the tumor analogy, it's like something. It's like some out. It's more like an infection than a tumor. It's some outside influence came into catastrophe, brought something additional to catastrophe, and has been spreading it through catastrophe's body. From a shamanic standpoint, it is probably that there is some kind of spirit, maybe spiritual parasite or spiritual parasites that came in. And one of the things you have noticed, probably all of you have noticed during your time with catastrophe, is parasites are kind of a thing with festivals like this. usually, ideally, the festival has enough antibodies, mortal and otherwise, to deal with that kind of to deal with parasites, whether metaphysical or social. This time out, this parasite or group of parasites is stronger than usual and has started to forge its own particular spiritual signature within the larger body of parasite, of catastrophe.
Okay, so it's a parasite that is somehow burrowed deep enough that it's starting to get. I'm going to relay everything that I got from that to everybody
for
else.
Clarification for just maybe I'm slow in the uptake. It's not originally part of catastrophe. This isn't like catastrophe's anger manifested and became something worse. This is an external something that latched on.
Well, yeah,
we don't want to integrate back in. Okay.
Yeah, well, there's at least like the core of it we don't want to integrate back in, but the rest of it is still sort of catastrophe. Like it's
okay,
sort of the growth around the parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we need to get rid of the parasite, like getting the stuff out of the zit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to go the grossest possible route. That's
but it's absolutely accurate.
No.
Yes.
We want to get rid of the zit, but not take off the skin. Got it.
Yes.
And now I just got that image of somebody.
Yep, my bad. No, I should have run it through my brain twice. Yep,
I'm gonna need brain bleach after that one.
You're welcome.
So when you relay this, Catastrophe herself stops walking, spins around and says, "Yes, thank you. Yes, I welcomed them, and they've worn out their welcome, and they're abusing my hospitality, and I don't like it. But I can't have them to leave."
That is how many these spirits get. They stay too long, they get a little woo, have too many brownies, know what I'm saying? And then bad times for everybody involved.
Normally, I and my fools, and you recognize that she's referring to the holy fools, which are sort of a kind of the unofficial wardens, or not the police, because that has really, really horrible connotations, but the people there is a staff within Catastrophe called the Holy Fools that gently ask people who are being douches to leave or else. And so when she says, normally my fools can handle such people, but this, I'm afraid, is beyond them. At least for now.
Some assholes
would you like to be
way
my
bigger than you think.
But yeah, suddenly she goes like, "Would you like to be my fools tonight?"
I got nothing better to do.
So, as she says, "Would you like to be my fools tonight?" The aura around her, that pulsating aura, begins to grow brighter and brighter and brighter. Again, still strobing in time with the music and pulsating all the various different neon lights, and washes over you, and everything around you disappears until
the third brownie kicked in.
Yeah. You are laying. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to comment that maybe he should cut back a few brownies per day.
But then what will I do with all the brownies? But then they're gonna go bad.
And those last few words, both the last few words that you say, Penn, and the last few words, they're just sort of, anyone here who has been really seriously intoxicated on a psychoactive can probably recognize the what would we do sort of sound perception distortion. Your last few words burns into a sound perception distortion as the light grows and then fades into darkness and then fades back up to the techno beat around you, and all of you are laying on the ground or rather I should say on rugs that are on the ground and pillows and so forth. All of you are kind of piled together, a puppy pile together, wrapped around each other, whether you would have thought of doing that before or not. And you're in the middle of a very large vaulted tent with bright lights pulsating, and other people who are curled up around you, or some of whom are making out, some of whom appear to be sleeping, one or two of them seem to be snoring. Again, in the middle of this tent, where a pulsating beat is rising up through you, and the light is that same color green of that pulsating green heart, and you can feel the beat reaching into you and pulling out. And you're sort of you sort of find yourselves involuntarily moving with that beat as you realize where you are. What do you do?
Can I so we are all mostly back in reality?
Well, reality in quotes, but probably.
Okay.
You're definitely in some place that is recognizably a camping catastrophe.
Can I say when she asked if you would want to be one of the fools, can I say that Snafu did something a little different?
Sure.
I think when she asked if we wanted to be her fool, Snafu actually is like, actually I'd like to be, in a sense, a dance partner if you wouldn't mind. See, I've been working on this spell, and I think you're gonna need all the fools you can get. And I've been working on this spell, and he flips the book back open. It's a spell that allows an ultimate chaos and an ultimate kind of change. And I think maybe you need that tonight. But in doing so, I think I read the spell wrong. It says that you need, I thought it said that to finish the spell, you would summon catastrophe, but I think I read it wrong. I think it says you have to accept catastrophe. And I think if you're going to face this tonight, I'd like to be a support, and maybe I don't leave here. But if you would have this dance with me, I'll help you through this the best I can. And he holds his hand out and waits to see if she accepts maybe his final spell.
That, by the way, is beautiful. That's fucking great. I love it. And she, as you sense, you're having that same sort of, all the rest, the rest of you are only barely hearing a kind of in the background of what the two of you were saying. For you, Snafu, basically everyone except Catastrophe has faded away into this bright wash of light. She kind of coalesces into that form, into the most beautiful woman you have ever, or beautiful person of your preferred gender that you have ever seen. And she says, thank you. Yes. And she takes your hand and she says, might I offer a heart salutation? Do you know what a heart salutation is? Do you, Edward, know what a heart salutation is?
No, actually.
Okay. So she reaches and says, may I offer you a heart salutation? And reaches for your hand. And then takes your hand, presses it to her sternum, and presses her hand to your sternum and covers each one with her hand with your hand, your hand, or her hand with your hand with her hand, and the two of you, you can feel yourself accelerating, sort of like towards this imaginary, not imaginary, rather, what's the word I want? Sublime sort of like hyperspeed inside. You can feel every molecule of your body vibrating and growing and expanding into something that feels like ultimate awareness as you begin dancing and spinning like a galaxy, you know, like a speeded up version of a galaxy. The two of you spinning and growing and becoming one and blending together into an infinite blast of light that is all and nothing. Meanwhile, the rest of you wake up to boom.
All right.
I'm way too high for this.
And henceforth, retroactively, that's why certain catastrophes people call snafus.
Ah,
That was beautifully done.
it's funny because wordplay.
And sorry. I've
Oh, it's okay.
Looking
No, I mean,
around,
that's-
do I see snafu?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You all do. And this is from a GM standpoint. Running with whatever the hell happens is part of the. It literally is part of the game. Every time I run this game, it runs completely differently depending on who's playing it, and and especially I've forgotten which one of you asked. I think it was you, Kevin, asked earlier. What's the difference between Mage and D&D? It all depends on who's running it, but typically D&D is all plotted out room by room, encounter by encounter, maybe necessarily roll by roll. In Mage, it's well, I make notes and then I make all this shit up around them because that's the only way you can run something like this, especially with people you've never met before. So improvisation is definitely part of being a definitely part of being a game master, and especially improvising around the fact that Edward just disappeared. Yes. So cool. We're good to go. Okay, cool. Thank you, Edward. I don't know if he's still here or not, but thank you. That was awesome and a great transition. So instead of fading gently into this place, into this new state where you're laying on your backs and the music is washing over you, like I mentioned, instead, what you wake up is, what you wake up to is boom, and all of you just feel this cascade of energy blasting into you and through you and shaking the ground that you're all laying on. What do you do?
Catastrophe, like maybe you could be more gentle next time.
So what do the rest of you do?
I'm going to take a few moments to remember where I am, that everything is not explosions. And I'm gonna come down a little bit. I think I hit sobriety way too quickly.
Coming down is unfortunately not going to be an option.
Yes, I'm gonna finish off that brownie. I'm good to. I'm gonna get back where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, by the way, your fool cards just went flying because you were just hit with a physical and metaphysical wave of something.
Okay.
You're not quite sure what yet. And what do Penn and Doe? What do you end up doing? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So good.
No,
Okay.
nothing.
Okay. So yeah, you're laying on the ground and you come out of it, and basically everyone around you is knocked to is laying on the ground as if they've suddenly been blown off their feet. Some of them are like, what the hell? Kind of looking around. A few of them seem to have been banged into something or banged into each other. Doe, you notice that a few people have like bloody noses and bloody lips. One person is cradling his hand and wrist. Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! And essentially, you are, as I mentioned earlier, in this tent, but this tent has suddenly been hit by some sort of impact or explosion in the center of it, and so the pillows, and you can see that there are places where there were statues and places where there were altars, and all of it has been knocked over. In a few places there were candelabras, and those places are now on fire. What do you do?
Can I use forces or something to ask the fire to stop burning the tent down?
Yeah, you can try. What do the
Okay.
rest of you do? I'll get back to that in just a second, but I want to get everybody, while get your first reaction, and then we will handle how you respond. Yeah.
I'd like to pull out my very smartphone and hack the sprinkler system.
Okay, there isn't
Come
one.
on.
Does it look
I
like
wanna
any of
hack
the
this way to have
like
the sprinkler
altars
system.
or oh, I didn't realize you were still talking, Kevin. Your not mic system is very hard to remember you're still talking. Or any of like the rune circles or anything, like looks like it is causing excess chaos because it is like not controlled and it like needs to be like focused on first because it's not because it got like knocked over.
Yeah, what those, well, you're all energy sensitive. What you all sense suddenly here is a huge detonation of chaos energy just went off.
But is any of the like individual circles or like altars like particularly like now like disturbed and like needs to be focused on to like put back together before like something worse goes off?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, so from where you are, from where you're sitting up, basically, because nobody said they're standing up just yet. But from where you can see that there were three, or rather four. First, 1, 2, 3, and then there's one behind you. 4 altars at the cardinal points that had been like sort of small podiums, maybe 2-3 feet over. The high rather. They've been knocked over. Each one of them appears to have had a statue on it, and all 4 of those statues are shattered, or not shattered, but broken. And what you can, what's your prime? How many dots do you have in prime? Prime sphere, that's here. 2. You can sense this like a thunderstorm of electricity around a thunderstorm of electricity, right? But you can sense a thunderstorm around each one of those altars, and there are tendrils of lightning kind of flickering between them, but they're not flickering between each other. And you're kind of getting the impression that there was an anchor for all this energy and it just got wrecked. That's probably bad.
That's probably a thing that I'm going to probably consider fixing. I'm gonna, because I'm still sitting on the floor, I'm gonna kind of grab this out and I'm gonna align it to the different directions and pick and grab this out and kind of be like, okay, which direction should I go first?
Okay.
And from that, I will then go that direction.
Cool. Okay, we'll handle that in just a second. Doe. There are lots of people that just got hurt.
Yeah, so what I want to do is use my empathy to determine who needs help first, who needs healing first.
Okay. How are you doing that? What are you doing to sense? Are you just are you just glancing around, or are you adding some kind of metaphysical push to that?
Some sort of metaphysical push.
Okay. Well, you can just actually just roll your perception plus empathy, because you've got high empathy, and I know you've got life. Yeah, you've got, I think, 3 in life. So yeah, no problem. Just roll your perception. You got 3. Okay. Yeah, basically, the person who's hurting most at the moment is probably that guy who looks like it. That wrist shouldn't be bent that way. It looks like he broke his wrist. He's, as far as you can tell on first glance, he's the most obviously physically injured person here. But it's almost your empathy, and actually make a willpower roll. Come to think of it, willpower is here. Roll 1 6-sided die for every point in willpower. Difficulty 7, because I just realized your empathy is probably overloaded from all the stuff that's going on, all the people that are hurting. Actually, let's make that difficulty 8.
Oh, I only got 7.
Okay. You rolled a 7, or?
I rolled a 7. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you one die for every dot of willpower.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you've got 5 or 6 dice.
5, yeah.
Yeah, so roll 5 dice, and let me know of anything that's a 7 or higher. Cool.
So I have-
Okay. So you are able to focus on the task rather than being overwhelmed by it. Okay. So back to Joe. Actually, on this, we'll say roll your. I'm trying to remember how. I'm trying to remember how to do initiative under the under the Mage 20 rules. Remember what I was saying a little while ago about not having to check the rules? We changed the rules in the 20th anniversary, and I've forgotten what they are.
Fantastic.
Initiative used to be one role, used to be one type of role, and now it's another. And I want to make sure, since we're doing this, for for public consumption, I want to make sure that I'm asking for the right rules, or right roles rather, so that somebody doesn't go, wait a minute, it's not that, it's that.
Why didn't you do it this way during that one time I watched it on Twitch?
Yeah, exactly. So
So what about
initiative.
the rule?
What do you roll? I should know this. Initiative ratings.
Can't take a 5-foot step and a move.
I missed
Oh,
that
yeah.
rule so much.
So roll one 10-sided die and add that to your dexterity plus your wits. So basically it's dexterity plus wits plus 1 10-sided die. And let me know what you've got.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I
wow.
will roll for what's going on.
I'm dropping
Oh.
6 die on this one, not counting the other one. What's my target number on this one?
No target number. Just
No target
add
number?
your dexterity plus your wits.
Okay. So that's I guess it's just a 6 and a 1 on the 10-sided.
Okay. So what's the total?
7.
7. Okay, so you're on 7.
Yeah.
Okay, who else? What do you have? What numbers did you get?
Wait, what are we
Rolling
doing?
For what?
Roll 1 die, add it to your dexterity plus your wits, and then add and roll 1 die and add it to that. So like if your wits is 3 and your dexterity is 2, it'd be 5 plus whatever you roll on the die. What'd you get?
14.
Sorry?
3. I have 3 plus 3 plus 8, so 14.
14. Okay, cool. Thank you.
See, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 8 is 15.
Okay, so 15. So Penn first. Okay.
And
10. Okay. And let's see, Joe. Yeah, you got Joe. What'd you get?
For the initiative?
Yeah.
7.
And you got 7 total. That's right.
Yeah, I rolled.
Okay.
Crap on the dice.
Okay.
But I'm good everywhere else, so it's kind of still garbage. But yes.
Okay. So yeah, Joe, your response is kind of like, wow, dude, that's a lot. Doe, you are dealing with the emotional inrush of suddenly coming out of this strange trancy realm into sudden chaos and people in pain. Slicer, you can act. You can pull out your smartphone and start looking for the fire extinguisher system that isn't there. And Penn, you act first. The rest of them are kind of going, what? You're like, oh shit, act. What do you do?
So yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay. So I feel those things and I'm like, okay. So I've got my trusty, because I'm like, I see those 4 things and I'm like feeling like there's buzzes and I'm like, okay, I need to like figure out which direction to run first. And so I'm still on the floor and I'm like, okay. I have to pick which direction, which I know, like, because I've got like the thing, and I'm picking the direction, which I'm thinking is that I'm gonna probably mispronounce this horribly bad, which is kind of, I'd say it's probably a pagan tradition, which would be the Enstoria.
Okay.
I think would be like taking this out to figure out which direction is to go like fix one of those statues.
Yep. Triage, spiritual triage, which place is most fucked up? Basically the same thing that Doe is doing.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is from a storytelling standpoint, this is the difference between paradigms. This is one person is doing it this way, one person is doing it this way. So yes, cool. Let's see. I'm just going to skip the roll on this one and say that it's the one to the west.
Okay,
Is
so
the worst energy leak.
so I head over there, and how in the am I gonna fix this shit?
That's the question, isn't it?
That is literally what I say as I get there, and I look at it, and whew, taking out all my shit, and I'm looking at this, and I'm gauging my stuff. And is there something I can roll that's smarter than my actual brain that's gonna pull something out
Yep.
from the paper that my brain, like,
Yep.
I am not getting words, mouth, brain
Mhm.
crap.
That's what traits are for. Yeah, I'd say on this one it would just be a, let's see, wits.
Okay.
Probably wits plus esoterica.
Okay. Yeah.
Wits and
So
wits and esoterica, or enigmas if you don't have esoterica.
no, that's my esoterica. Like I said, my pagan tradition. Like I knew I had the
Yep.
good on that. So yeah,
Okay.
that's good. So I've got 6 dots. So that's cool. I can.
Okay, so yeah,
feeling good here.
difficulty 6.
Sweet. Let's see. Come on,
Okay.
dice. Yay!
Uh,
I'll accept that. I got 2 10s,
nice.
an 8, 5, and 2 6s.
Okay. So probably the best thing looking at, oh, you know what you could, the best thing you could do is ask your avatar, the animal that you are that your kind of soul, the spirit, the spirit, the animal spirit that you are that you relate with closest.
Okay.
And ask them, what do I do here? You know, dear avatar, maybe possibly actually a deer. What animal do you gravitate toward most? What animal is do you relate with most, or does Penn relate with most?
Was that on my sheet, or is that something I had to figure out beforehand and I forgot to totally do? And I'm gonna have to pull out of my butt, because I'll pull something out of my butt quickly.
This is totally a butt pull situation.
Yes, I like butt pull situations. I'm feeling manatee,
not
which
next
I have
hamster
no idea
joke.
why,
Okay.
but so I'm connected to manatees. So I am communing with a manatee, asking a manatee, which is in the west, which I can only guess because it's on the western continent, and how I fix this.
The thing that we're laughing at is came across in chat.
Yeah,
I don't know if the audience can see it or not, but
Yeah. Sweet kisses. Yeah, it's actually quite hilarious on the conversation here. I hope everyone can see this, because if not, you're missing out. But yes, so I am communing with my manatee avatar, and really hoping it's giving me some good information.
sorry, couldn't resist. Okay, yeah. And in making that hamster joke, I just misplaced myself on the soundtrack. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. So what manatee does? You can sort of just get this kind of an almost like an animal shrug, and then you see manatee in the kind of in the waters of your mind start swimming around in circles, and so you're kind of like, run around in circles. Well, wait a minute. If I go counterclockwise, maybe I can contain the energy. So that's sort of what you do. You can run with literally run with that idea. You start running widdershins around the around that crackling energy storm, and sort of reaching into it and kind of trying to maybe take it into yourself. In fact, you can. Yeah. So when you're doing this, I'm not even going to have you roll for this, just because this is also handling things kind of on improvisational. But you start taking that lightning. The lightning starts going into you as you're running around, and you feel it kind of shuddering and all through your hair. Your hair is standing up on end. All the hairs on your body are standing up on end. And it's really, really, really super invigorating. So you go faster and faster and faster. So what the rest of you notice while you're fumbling through, actually no, Slicer, you're next. So she is starting to run around she's starting to run around in circles, and you see that electricity rising her hair and making her clothes, kind of do the static electricity dance. You've got your cell phone out, your smartphone out, you're fumbling around on it, trying to find, and you realize that there is no sprinkler system for you to activate. So what do you do?
All right, tapping my high-tech shades that are connected to my very smartphone. I'm assessing the situation of her doing these circles, maybe kind of picking up something of what's happening, and I would love to see if I can grab an instrument nearby and kind of play some melodic techno, something to assist her in some way.
Okay. So what kind of, did you say melodic techno? Do you want to bring the energy up or bring the energy down?
Oh, wow. My instinct is to bring it up.
Okay. So you can hack into this. You can hack into the sound system. I won't even have you roll for that. You hack into the sound system, and basically what you're hearing now on the soundtrack starts rising as people also start going, what the fuck? And other things start to happen. The other things that start to happen is, first, what all of you feel rather than hear is like a scream, this high-pitched, yeah! Which, yeah, literally, it hurts your ears even as you recognize that it's not your eardrums that are responding. It's your soul that is responding. The people who are standing or laying around all cringe away from the sound, which the sound originated from the center of the blast. And you see some people fall over, holding their ears. Some of them holding their chests, and you see a few people stand up very quickly, and one of them, a woman, really just absolutely stunning, beautiful woman with long, cascading, curly red hair, who's basically who's wearing only a black skirt and some body paint. She stands up first before everybody else, and she's like, "Trainwreck, Tash, Fox," and she's like pointing in different directions, and these various people kind of get up. One of them is this really like tall, bulky, like road warrior dude. One of them is sort of a voluptuous woman with really, really thick, long, dark, long brown hair, and also dressed in sort of a belly dancer garb, though not like Catastrophe was. And she's got this black paint across her eyes, and she gets up responding to that. This sort of androgynous, almost skeletal looking dude, maybe, who's very, very pale skinned, probably wearing one hell of a lot of sunscreen in the Nevada desert, and wearing kind of abbreviated black fetish leathers, gets up, and all of them rush over to different corners, and one of them comes back. The big, like, biker looking dude comes running out with a bucket of water. The woman with the long brown hair has got a fire extinguisher, and the other guy, question mark, is just running. And then you see a few other people are kind of getting up and fumbling around, and one of them gets up and she blows a whistle, very like a high pitched whistle, and she says, "Holy fools! Where?" And she points at the woman in the skirt, and she says, "Where are your fire protection measures?" And the rest of you are just as you're acting, as you're doing your thing, and Joe and Joe, we will get to that. But all of you are still feeling this backwash of emotional and energetic blast. So, Doe, what are you doing? This is what's going on around you.
Well, I'm wondering what I can do to help heal the, to help Pinstaman.
Okay, probably because you are voodoo priestess, correct?
But I can ask the ancestors. I can throw some bones.
Probably the most useful thing you can do under the circumstances, given the scope of what just happened, is call on your ancestors or call on your patron spirits to go. Okay, do what you can. I'm yours. Just surrender yourself to the moment and hope that the spirits are in a good mood.
Yeah. All right, that's what I do.
And you can figure out the offering later because this is an emergency.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that, and who, in terms of, are you asking the ancestors or are you asking the Loa? And if you're asking the Loa, which Loa are you asking?
Well, I'm named after Yemaya, the water Loa.
Okay.
So,
Yemaya would do
water.
it. Okay.
And so, so I'll call on her.
Okay. So as you oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I stand up because I was down on the floor helping some people and got everybody taken care of. I stand up and I throw my arms out and I shout.
Okay.
To Yemaya, come in and help.
Okay.
I need you now. And
okay, cool. So thank you. You stand up, you close your eyes, you throw your arms out. Yemaya, I need help now. And it feels as though a wave has washed over you. And your skin is wet, your hair is suddenly soaking wet, your clothes are suddenly soaking wet. No water, nobody sees water actually hit her, but suddenly she's soaking wet. And you feel this intense sense of cool and calm, and a voice says, "I'll help you, daughter. Let's just reach out and touch them. I'll do the rest." Okay, and Joe, this is all the stuff you see going on. What do you do?
Okay, the fire's there's still fire there, right?
Yeah,
Fire's still going. Okay.
there's still fire.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I believe it's going to be the forces and spirit. I don't know, maybe correspondence. I don't know. There's a whole, yeah. I'm going to call on Kutke, who's a Russian trickster god.
Cool.
Who I have who I have worked with a lot before.
Mm-hmm.
And given that one of my things is both prayer and social domination,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to yell at Kutka about he owes me for that thing in New Mexico. And I need you, like you gave fire to man, and now you need to give that fire to the green thing now. Owe me.
Okay, that's awesome.
I'm doing it all in Russian. Like it's a bunch of angry Russian.
Yelling in Russian. Okay, now here's the question. Are you asking the trickster to give the fire to the green thing?
I made it in the most like literal set fire aggressive kind of the green thing. Like you give him
The
fire,
GM
fire,
just
fire,
rubs
make
forehead.
Saying
fire
the word
purify,
give?
fire purify, it purifies it.
Okay.
It spread. This is yes.
Okay.
Terrible ideas.
Yes, yes, it is. Okay, so what the rest of you see is Joe gets up and is screaming, gesticulating in Russian, and suddenly the place bursts into flames. And the tent bursts into flames. You're inside the tent. Suddenly, this rush of heat, which all of you feel, even you, Yamaya, feel through that. It was essentially you felt a wave wash over you, and then suddenly the water began to boil. And so you are, what the rest of you, if anybody is looking at Yamaya instead of at the holy fuck, why did everything just burst into flames? Yamaya suddenly was drenched and now is steaming. And people start screaming and running.
Oh,
Use
fuck,
one
dude,
way to
it's
clear
hot.
out.
What'd you do?
so next
I
turn,
called in the wrong favor.
you definitely called in the wrong, and you called a
wrong
fucking
favor.
trickster. What did you think was going to happen?
Something very much like this.
Called a Russian trickster. In Russia is no happy. In Russia, fire sets you.
It is. Exactly. So I figure I get out. He's good.
You'll get an opportunity to get
I'm
out.
very
That's
warm
for
now.
sure.
I'm very warm.
Oh boy. So Pen, next turn. What are you doing? You're running around in circles and you
Say,
hear.
am I still in a lightning storm in the middle of a firestorm now? Like, yeah. Yeah. Am I still in a lightning storm
Yeah,
in the middle of this firestorm? And I'm
this
still
is a
running?
really elemental session. I'll say that.
I guess
You're welcome.
but I'm guessing this totem still isn't repaired, right? Like,
No.
so I'm guessing I still have to keep running, and I'm hoping that maybe someone figures out another element to like get the other post in.
You're in a
And-
desert.
I know. Yeah, and this fire's not going out. I'm hoping there's not like, yeah, there's just gonna be a lot of burning. I live in deserts. I know how big these fires go. Shit. Where's
Probably the best thing you could do is get people the fuck out of here.
right? This is not good. I think yeah. So yeah, I'm not like so hyper focused on what I'm doing that I'm like cognizant enough that I'm gonna be so yeah, cool. I drop
Okay.
what I'm doing and I start running out, and if there's like someone who's like still too injured to move, I probably help them get up and probably help carry them. There's probably
Okay.
some freaking burn because of freaking
Because of freaking fire.
yeah.
That is
And-
how fire
yeah.
works.
There are lots of people laying on the ground or sprawling or stumbling around. So you can probably you could easily grab one or two people and head for the exit.
And that's what I do.
Okay, cool.
That's the wisest thing to do is
That is the wisest thing
out.
to do. Okay, Slicer, what do you do?
So I got my tunes going to try to help.
It's got a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
The fire has a wonderful soundtrack.
But then I get singed with fire. I'm like, oh fuck. Shit. Okay. Tap into my goggles again to see if there's any kind of contingency to contain the situation, or if I need to get out. Like any kind of.
So while you're doing that, very, 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 very quickly, and you feel the heat washing in and the air in your lungs starting to get drawn out, what you sense is, yes, there are fire contingencies. This is a festival in the middle of a desert. The Holy Fools, the actual Holy Fools, as opposed to y'all, do have a fire control vehicle. this has happened way too quickly for them to respond just yet, but you can probably get the activate. You can probably activate it faster than they will realize what's going on.
All right, then I'm gonna direct my music techno powers and say, "We gotta fucking hack this fire, y'all!" And I play a higher pitch beat to make them come even faster. And if I may, their water cannons, wherever they have, like double in size, and they're gonna really be able to put out this fire.
Okay. Let's see. So this is what starts playing. And so that this starts booming out over the sound system, immediately discharging, you know, what had been, or immediately skipping over what had been playing before that. And basically that'll take your whole turn to go, oh, this, okay, fine. In all of your heads, you hear Catastrophe's voice going, "What did you do?"
It's fine to fix it.
No service. No service. I can't hear it. No, you're breaking up.
Okay, so in any case, the shriek that you had heard, that you felt that reverberated through you, is shrieks louder and louder, and a sudden wind, very physical wind, starts blowing around and around and around inside, basically a vortex, like a tornado, starts from the center of that blast, which unfortunately turns the fire into a fire tornado, and the shrieks even louder, and people scream. The big dude with the fire extinguisher starts firing the fire extinguisher. This industrial one, but still, it's like in all directions. That kind of androgynous looking person in the fetish leathers is flying as fast as they can possibly go. The woman with the bucket of water shrieks and throws water at a person who has burst into flames, and then kind of looks around and jumps on them and rolls them. The woman who is wearing only the skirt is like, "Ilana!" and calls out, and you feel a spiritual tremor, even stronger than the vortex and the explosion that you just felt. Essentially, the metaphysical, catastrophe that you're all in the middle of just keeps intensifying. Joe, what did you do? What do you do now?
Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Okay.
What do you do?
Okay.
And you hear sirens going off. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Is there, like, beneath all the rugs, is it just like sand? Is it sand, or is it like a sand desert?
It's like dust. It's a dust desert. It's a dust playa.
Okay.
I mean, you could potentially summon the earth to put this out, but do you think that'd be a really good idea considering what you just did?
Oh, I'm full of terrible ideas. This is how this is playing out. I have two options, both of which involve the Russian god Stryborg of the wind. Another one owes me a favor, and I also am going to promise to give him McDonald's on the way home. Because that's how I roll. And I'm either going to see if he can supercharge that the fire extinguisher. Basically have like have some of that, like that north wind, frozen wind sort of start pouring out from the fire extinguisher the guy's wielding, because it looks like the dust is probably going to be more iffy, and adding more wind to the fire tornado is, I mean, I'm not stupid, I'm just kind of dumb.
You could throw in the tornado.
Yes. So I'm going to do a prayer to Stryborg. I'm going to try and invoke a favor that they had. I'm going to do a little I'm on fire dance, and I'm basically going to ask him in exchange for basically kind of like whatever he wants, but McDonald's is
You're right. You're all full of bad ideas.
within reason. Like it's going to be within reason that I can give within the next 24 hours, and is on the McDonald's dollar menu. Maybe not that last one, but yeah. Basically to just put a significant more oomph in that fire extinguisher.
Okay. Do we need sharks in the tornado?
Yes.
There's not enough curses to take you down.
Okay, well, I just need to find a Russian god of sharks real quick. Just give me a second.
I'm sure there probably is one. It's like if there's something, yeah. So let's see. Look at your avatar, trickster spirit. Oh God, yeah.
I'm
what's
playing
your
it as
force?
written.
Yeah, you are definitely playing him as written. So roll your arete. I think that's 3 dice.
Yeah.
There's not even a question of vulgar or coincidental here, because this is everything going on here is crazy. So just roll a 5 or better. Roll a 4 or better for that matter.
Okay, I got three successes then.
Okay, you got 3 successes.
Yeah.
The guy who has the fire extinguisher suddenly gets kicked back as the fire extinguisher chemical goes and starts jetting out to a power and extent that container could not possibly have held. And it actually does start putting out the fire where it hits. Chaos got to and
die as I lived.
Yeah.
Doing a series of increasingly stupid things.
So Yamaya, what do you do? You could actually, you of all people, actually have the potential to do have the best effects here.
Tell me how. Well, I mean, I can use more. We need water, right? More water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In fact, Yamaya says, this is bad.
Yeah, this is good.
How much water would you like?
Rain, tsunami.
Somewhere between all of the water on the planet and all of the water in the universe.
We will discuss. She says, daughter, your heart is in the right place. We will discuss the price later. And all of you hear a loud crack of thunder. So that's the end of the turn. Is we'll discuss the price later. From outside, and you hear sirens in the distance. So, Penn, what do you do? I guess you're still running with gathering people and running?
Yeah, I'm just kind of getting everyone, like, I'm heading towards, like, whatever vehicles. I'm like, we're just getting out of the desert right now. Like, this, like, I'm, like, getting to the end of the lights. I'm trying to just get out of Dodge, like... I don't even want to be here anymore. I'm like, I didn't ask for anything from this chick. I don't want to be part of any of this. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, this is why rituals are more important, and this is why we have to follow rules.
I don't understand. You're saying words, but they're just gibberish.
I realize this, and I'm just like.
Okay, so as you're gathering you've got like a person on each arm, and you're kind of herding some other people out toward the exit. People are like crashing into each other and running for the entrance to the flaming tent. And as you get out there with the people, you see Catastrophe, and she's very solid now.
Well, yeah, because this is as about as catastrophic as I was making up words here as something could be.
Yeah.
You're
But yes.
welcome.
Yeah. So you see her, and she has started. She looks over. You know, she kind of looks over to see you and the other people coming out, and going, "This is not what I asked for."
It wasn't what I was
You are
doing!
not clear. I was not given clear instructions. I was not supervised. Whose fault is that?
She also, like the the woman in the tent, holds up her arms, and she throws back her head and starts doing a dervish spin. And she spins around faster and faster and faster. You were outside enough to hear the crack, that crack. The sky, which was dark because it was night, the sky is suddenly a lot darker, and that crack that you heard was a brilliant flash of lightning that illuminates basically everything that wasn't already illuminated by all the neon lights and so forth. You see people like everywhere going, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck," and not really sure whether they're going, "Oh fuck" at the burning tent or "Oh fuck" at the huge fucking bolt of lightning from the dark sky. The lightning did not actually strike anything. It was like a crack of lightning across the sky, not hitting anything. But you can see. Nobody else can unless you leave the tent. Can see that greenish tentacled thing is now kind of like reaching at the sky, like doing this thing rather than kind of reaching out around the festival. And all of you are hearing, feeling really this resonating shrieking in your bones. And you also can see what looks like firelight, fire engine lights off in the distance, in what you probably remember, if you could get a moment to think about get your bearings and remember where things are, from the Holy Fools emergency station. Slicer, what are you doing? Let's see, wrong music, definitely wrong music.
Yeah, can I tap my glasses and try to study the inky tentacle thing to get a sense of weaknesses?
Of weaknesses?
Yeah.
It seems
Everything.
Like fire.
But basically, what you can figure out in what's going on is that almost every pattern imaginable has broken down. The whole thing is a weakness at the moment.
All right.
Welcome.
Well, yeah, can I just grab an instrument and try to enhance what's going on?
Yeah. Do you want to enhance what's going on, or do you want to calm it down?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were saying all the craziness was hurting the inky thing.
No, the chaos is piling on chaos is piling on chaos. If you can think of something that would calm things down, that may help. Actually, that would probably help like a lot.
All right, I'm gonna play some like just chill, like what you would listen to when you want to have a good trip on psychedelics. You know what I'm talking about? And try to just lull things to chill out a little bit.
Okay. Let's try. Yeah. That. So you're trying to play something that slows things down.
Like East Forest as an artist, for example. He's a gift.
Yeah, you're able to kind of bring in some tones. as I mentioned, are you still inside the tent, or are you running for the exit as the place burns down?
Yeah, I imagine as it gets hotter and hotter, I'm like trying to, gather instruments or anything that I think I might need, but I was backing out as I was playing music.
Okay, yeah, there were a few acoustic instruments laying around. Probably not going to get grab a guitar that's like 50 feet away. Probably not a great idea. But you have your instrument, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and I imagine I have some dope musical apps on my phone.
MIDI is your friend. And MIDI is your roommate.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you begin to play something much more. Still, as you step out, you see Catastrophe herself start to do the dervish spin. And so you play something to accompany that. Yamaya, you feel again that another wash of that water. And Yamaya tells you, Yamaya, your Loa tells you, I think we have something that can help you. We should get some people out of here. Help the injured ones.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
there are no lack of injured people laying around, or rolling around in pain, or running or stumbling.
So I go around and help the ones that are the most.
Okay. Yep. So okay, you can scoop up some people like Penn did and herd them toward the herd them toward the entrance of the flames. And you hear another, and those of you who are outside see another, basically a dance of lightning in the clouds directly overhead, and the squid-like spirit presence reaching up, and the tentacles kind of reaching down, reaching up and connecting with the lightning, and the lightning kind of reaching down into them as as Catastrophe herself spins faster and faster and faster and faster. Joe, what are you doing? Or are you making it worse this turn?
Well, don't challenge me like that. I mean, how many people are left? How many people?
Oh, dozen. There are at least 2 dozen people in the tent. You haven't exactly had a chance to count them. There are still lots of people.
I am just going to do a quick search here, but I'm going to call in another favor, but I'm going to try and get some kind of earth spirit or god basically to pull everyone under and out, and then throw them out the edge, so they're no longer in the tent, and I'll be the only one standing in the tent.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I understood this right. Are you asking an earth god to grab people and pull them out?
Yeah, basically like to pull them down into the dirt, and then out and then up.
Okay. I'm looking at Anthony over here going, man.
There's medical personnel somewhere.
Yeah. So, roll your arete.
Okay. Let's hope I don't screw this up.
Yeah, and five or better.
Okay, I got a 1. That's good.
No, it's not.
That's really bad. Okay, well.
No, I mean roll 3 dice.
No, I did. I rolled 3 dice, and I got 1 that was it was an 8 and 2 1s.
Oh, you got an 8 and 2. Oh.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, that's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. Okay, so just before you hear a Russian accented chuckle, or just you hear a Russian accented chuckle.
Yeah.
And in a very old Slavic language says, "So it will be." And the rest of you outside see the ground underneath the tent suddenly go and swallow the tent. or begin to swallow the tent. The whole tent doesn't go under, but it's like there's suddenly like a giant sinkhole has opened around the tent and begins drawing it in. Joe,
This seems fair. This seems fair.
you are inside the tent. You and a bunch of people are inside the tent when suddenly underneath the rugs and things like that have been spread under it, suddenly the dust goes and swallows the people and pulls them in, and you're standing there in the middle of this dust storm with fire around you, and it starts going down.
I'm gonna drop some acid. That's what I'm gonna do.
You're gonna be dead by the time it kicks in.
Yeah, I'm gonna be, you know what? I'm gonna be dead here anyway. So let's see how this goes.
You're definitely playing the you're definitely playing the character. Okay. So, those of you who are at this point, the other three of you are outside, and this is what you see. As I said, the sinkhole opens around the flaming tent, and it begins to collapse inward. People are running in all directions. You start seeing some activity and some lights coming from the direction of the emergency station. You see a few people who are grabbing fire extinguishers and so forth from their tents, from their camps. Other people are snatching their snatching belongings up or pulling their tents down to get it away from the fire. Up in the sky, as you've noticed that thunderhead up there unleashes a torrent of rain. It's suddenly raining so hard that it hurts. And those of you who are standing outside are literally driven to your knees by the power of the by the power of the torrential downpour. And Joe, you being the other person who is in there, you're noticing just before things got swallowed up, the woman with the skirt who is like this, going, Inanna looks at you, looks down, and gets swallowed up herself. And what do the three survivors of you do?
My first question is, when the tent is swallowed, is Catastrophe still battling up there, or is Catastrophe like blinked out or like affected by the disappearance of the tent?
Catastrophe is still spinning in a dervish trance.
Okay, and the black tentacle thing is still going on. Like this is
actually that pretty much when the rain poured down, you said the tentacles sort of just faded.
Okay.
Like smoke, like green smoke.
Okay.
In the downpour.
You're welcome.
Do we still sense a dark presence, or does that seem to have taken care of it?
What you sense is essentially a titanic elemental vortex of chaos and fire and rain and energy that centered on, and water storm centered on this one place. It's if any of you are looking with either with spirit sight or with with energy sight, essentially what you see is a tempest of elements, an elemental tempest of energy being essentially extinguished by a combination of mud and water. The fire goes out. The tentacle things, as I said, kind of dissipated. There's no sign of the shaman. There's no sign of the woman who crawled out to Inanna. Most of the people got out, but not everybody. The woman who had the bucket of water is out. The androgynous person is nowhere to be seen. None of you see the big road warrior type guy. As the rain continues to fall, soaking everything, shorting out electrical places here and there, the fire truck rides up, and a number of holy fools dressed in protective gear rush out and start trying to put out a fire which is already going out on its own. And then from the dust around there, people start to climb, kind of pull themselves out like zombies out of graves, start clawing their way out of the earth. What do you do?
Maybe Joe didn't screw up so bad.
Are we in
Honestly, I
initiative
start
order?
looking around for any people that need like help and
They all need
start
help.
taking out my herbs. Well, like start kind of picking people and give my herbs and start like, making tinctures and pulches and like start like, yeah, thank you. I can talk and think and my brain is working today and like just start like trying to do what I can to help because this is a clusterfuck.
You're welcome.
Slicer,
No.
no. Slicer, what were you asking, Kevin?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, my headset just beeped at me. I didn't know what that meant. Yeah, anyone that looks like they have big cuts or anything, I want to run over to and play some music to have maybe little nanobots like flies come out of my phone
Okay.
and go and start stitching people and kind of fixing wounds.
Okay. Do you have life? I'm not sure if you have life, but we'll take
I'm just
this as
trying
a
to hack reality.
yeah. You're trying to hack reality. Let me see if you can do that. I mean, I obviously I'm playing very fast and loose with things tonight, so I'll let that happen just because it's it's story stuff. It's a neat idea. I'll allow that. Which
All right.
another just from a game master standpoint, rule of cool beats rule of books, at least as far as I'm concerned. And Yamaya, you said basically you see the people climbing their way out and pulling their way out of the mud, and you hear your patron going, "There will be many people who are going to need help, daughter."
Yes. So Yamaya goes, again, uses empathy to figure out who to help first, uses alternative medicine to, tend to their wounds. If they're burned, then I have, I make a salve for them. If they have broken bones, then let's see, what can I do for broken bones?
You have life. Basically, you can do. You've got life 3. You can heal whatever they have. If you try and do something really, really dramatic that looks unusual and people look at you funny, but considering this is the middle of a chaos vortex, in the middle of a chaotic festival, in the middle of a massive thunderstorm that came out of nowhere, nobody's going to be paying a whole lot of attention as to whether or not you fix somebody's broken arm with magic.
Oh, I just lay my
You're
hand
welcome.
and
If you've been in the middle of the desert, thunderstorms randomly popping out of a sunny sky, it happens very regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been in one of those. More than one, but one in particular. The first time I actually went, I've actually been to Burning Man a number of times, which is probably obvious. But the first time I went, we got a massive thunderstorm that began with hail and looked like a dust storm moving across the plain. And then we suddenly realized people were like throwing off their clothes going, "Oh, I'm going to get a shower. I'm going to get a shower. Oh, fuck. That's not a shower. That's hail." And then there's sand. And then there's white. And we ran, everybody, well, I was already in, but ran into our tents and held them as the storm hit us. So yeah, chaotic weather is kind of a thing out there. Meanwhile, Joe,
Yes.
you find yourself kind of as you are pulled in and pulled under,
Mhm.
you find yourself in a very old style, like medieval Russian, like a kind of a drinking hall of stone. and there were many shadowy figures around you, some of them more animal than human.
I'm in
And
trouble. I know principal's office when I know one, when I see one. I'm in trouble. That's fair. That's fair.
and the god that you the two gods that you evoke, the trickster and the elemental god you invoke,
Yeah.
because I'm not personally familiar with them, I can't describe them. So they would look as you would as primordial Joe would see them most.
Kutke is a big like raven, and then Strybolg is like a big bearded guy who blows wind and stuff. So
Okay. So you see the big bearded guy surrounded by this vortex of wind and storm, and he's holding a giant stone vessel, and that giant spirit raven is perched on his shoulder, and they look down at you very sternly as a raven can look, which is pretty damn stern.
Yeah.
And then the giant god offers you the glass and says, "Is good joke."
Is good joke.
And we'll end there, just because that's a good punchline for the end of the session. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Dude, I don't get the joke.
You had to be there. You had to be there. He's inside. He's inside me, technically. He's inside me, technically.
It's literally
Oh,
inside
yeah.
joke.
You are kind of a joke. Yeah.
So yeah, good job, everybody. Anyone have any questions? Anything else you want to know? Anything else I can say as far as either mage or GMing?
That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seriously, there's gonna be murder. You live like 20 minutes away from me, like in real life.
Yeah, she's gonna set me on fire. That's awesome.
And there's reasons I like picked which. Like this is like my in real life stuff. Like
Yeah, well, that's why I went the whole like wheeling and dealing with gods and spirits. Like that's my whole bag. Like I love that. That is amazing.
That was fucking awesome. I love it. This
You got which because you beat me to it.
yeah.
That was awesome, guys. That was awesome, folks. and Joe, that was fantastic. That was memorable.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to find somebody who will let me play Joe again, because I need to find an incredibly stupid game master. That's what.
But yeah, that was fun. I mean, let's just put it this way. I've run this scenario a number of times. That is not ever even close to what anything else has worked out like. But I love it.
You are welcome.
So
He's a good joke.
From a game mastering standpoint, again, like I was saying earlier, you run with whatever you got. And especially when you wind up with a chaotic player character doing chaotic shit, you run with it. The rule of, like I said, rule of cool or rule of story trumps rule of books. I've both played in and occasionally run games where adhering too closely to the rules or the rule book ended up, impeding or outright spoiling the story. No matter what happens, no matter which game you're running, no matter who you're running it for or what purpose you're running it for, keep your audience engaged, because role-playing games, because you don't have CGI and all that other stuff, and you don't generally have a soundtrack like I've been running, it's very, very easy for people to get distracted. So always, from a technique standpoint, I don't know if you all were able to see it, but I'm constantly checking everybody's body language, checking facial expressions and so forth. Reading the audience, especially as a GM, is incredibly important, because you don't want to like lose. I'm loving the comment. Yeah. But yeah, whatever it is, roll with the most entertaining possibility under the circumstances, because ultimately a game is supposed to be fun. you might be running a really, really super dark game like Bluebeard's Bride or Wraith the Oblivion, but still got to be enjoyable for the players, if not for the characters. And anything and everything you can do to keep everybody engaged and make the story as memorable as possible is good. So yeah, anybody else, any other questions, comments, suggestions, questions about Mage, about this can't be
I'm really bummed. Like I've really loved playing with
yeah, I didn't even
this
think about that.
cohort.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I think we need to keep doing that. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, and Phil, I will probably have questions for you when I come down from all that acid that Joe just took.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this was a lot of fun, and I really hope that everybody else enjoys this because I had a wonderful time.
well, as soon as you said the trickster and the giving fire, I was like,
Give fire to mankind,
God,
so give it to him. Give it to the thing. The thing is dead. Give it the thing.
That's why I was like, are you sure did I understand that's what you want to do? And also speaking of understanding, Doe, did you want to keep going? Do you want to do a postscript with what happens with the other characters while he is sharing drinks with the gods? What do the rest of you think? They keep going for a few minutes?
I would be interested to know kind of a wrapped up ending of what just happened.
Okay. Is that in character or in player what just happened?
Character.
Okay. So the postscript to the postscript to this. Hang on just a second. Yeah. So what the rest of you see as the rain beats down, turning the festival ground into like almost a concrete type mud, and the last bits of the flame of the fire go out, and the last bits of the tent sink into the earth, and then the mud slowly covers over it, and the people, most of the people, you can't really tell all, for as much as you can gather over the next few minutes, it looks like everybody got out except the shaman and the woman who had her hands up like this. The road warrior type guy eventually kind of clambers his way out, caked in like gray cement. The water is, the rain is still falling hard enough to wash a lot of the clay off of people. Eventually, people are holding their arms out. It almost looks like a sort of a prayer session to a million gods, as the firefighters realize that they are no longer needed because there's no longer any fire. There are, however, a lot of injuries, and those of you who are trying to help people can stay busy doing that for quite a while. When the rains begin to ease, Catastrophe, who has basically spun this circle around herself in the mud, is her feet are caked to the knees in mud. The rest of her is washed clean. Turns and looks at the three survivors. That is not what I wanted, but I realize that the three of you are blameless. Thank you for your help. I appreciate that, and I must admit that was one hell of a dance. And she looks over at you, at Yemaya, and says, she bows, she bows to you. Thank you, and thank your grandmother. Thank you, grandmother. Thank you, Yemaya. I appreciate the help. This would have been She looks around, so much worse. The rest of you, ask what you will of me. What I can provide for the next few days until the final closure of this festival for now is yours. And again, she's kind of shimmering between shapes as you look as you look at her. Now all of you are seeing different shapes that she is changing between. Eventually she settles into whatever shape you would find most, not sexually desirable, but the shape you would most want, the person you would most want to see at a moment of peace. And whether that's a parent, or whether it's a god, or whether it's, you know, some spirit, or whether it's a person, an old love, a future love, that's the person that you see standing there going, ask what you want of me is yours. And Joe, you're getting what you wanted, which is you're getting really fucked up with the gods, and the gods think what you did was awesome. Especially the trickster god. The trickster god is just, you're like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
as much as a raven. Well, I mean, obviously gods can shift shape, can shift shape, but essentially that raven perches on your shoulder. The raven turns into a hand of a guy, and again, like the guy, your favorite drinking companion, and he's like, in Russian, he's like, that was amazing.
I know, right?
That was best joke of the year.
Yes!
I should get a screenshot of that. So what do the rest of you do?
Yeah, I mean, I just really want you to like let me DJ, and maybe we can revive this party in like a less disaster sort of way, but like the positive side of a catastrophe.
And she nods her nods her head, and behind you, one of the holy fools, one of the like the real holy fools, comes over and says, I saw you doing that. That was really cool. Can you help me over here? Because the sound equipment over at the chill tent is not working because of the storm. And I don't know, but it looks like you could help. Which is not the sort of thing they would obviously not ask. But suddenly it's like this person is like, can you help do the thing you just wanted to do? And if you say yes, they lead you off to the tent, and you DJ, and you spend the rest of the festival doing the greatest fucking sets of your life. You never need to sleep. Anything or anyone that you want attention from, and whatever kind of attention you get. And by the end of the festival, you are just a fucking god, and people have come to you and started talking to you about ways to organize the festival to be safer and more fun next year.
Yes.
So Pen, Do, Yamaya, what do you want to do? What do you want to ask for?
So, and this is purely going off kind of how I entered in at the very beginning, and also going off wording off of my focus of my sheet. So I do really still want to restore those statues. Like, I want that ritual completed. Like, I want those, like, I still want that completed. 'Cause
Okay.
that feels very important to me. Also, I was definitely interrupted from a important sensual experience, and I would like those sorts of things to continue throughout the rest of this time, and just more of that free love sort of experience is going to continue throughout. So I want to finish that. Like, I really do want to restore those 4 statues, and then just the free love sort of ritual of the stuff is going to continue, and like get to be involved with it. So
He's fully
Cool.
6.
So you can find, against all rationality, you are able to find the broken statues, one of Pan, one of Yamaya, one of Hecate, Kuan Yin, yeah. Pan, one of Kuan Yin, one of Hecate, and one of Thor. Like a really, oh, actually no, not Thor, Kronos. They're really beautiful statues. It's a shame they were broken. You are able to fix them. That's actually good. And when you fix them, you feel this kind of a rush of thanks and like a blessing, and that blessing turns the rest of the festival into the greatest carnal sensual experience you have ever imagined.
Nice.
And yamaya.
So the person who she appears to me as is my daughter who died. So what I wish for, what I want in return for all of our hard work is that connection with now my daughter who is now my ancestor, and to be more constant. So
Cool.
that's what I ask of you.
So for the rest of cool, and for the rest of the festival until the final morning after the festival is concluded, you spend a wonderful, healing, beautiful time with your daughter, and anything and everything that you have ever wanted to say to her, you get to say, and everything you've wanted to share with her that you could have shared in this space, you're able to share, and then. As the rays of the final morning begin to illuminate the site, she holds your hand and looks you in the eye and says, "Thank you, Mama. Thank you. I needed that. I miss you. I love you, and I will always be there with you."
Aw.
Aw. So yes, again, thank you, and also another bit of GM's tip. If somebody, and by the way, Doe, thank you for asking for a conclusion for your characters, because you let me know you asked for what you wanted. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for asking for what you wanted. If your players want to keep going, if you're able to keep going, give everybody a satisfying conclusion. I have definitely played.
Satisfaction is important. Oh, I was playing with my character and I said satisfaction was important.
Sorry, satisfaction is important. Satisfaction is important. A good climax is important, and aftercare is important. So yeah,
There's nearly burning a dozen people alive.
yeah,
Very important.
Sith is fun.
yeah. It looks like from basically from what you all can gather, the only people who actually died were the chaos, the chaos guy, the chaos ecstatic, the shaman, and the woman in the skirt, who definitely did not seem to expect anything of what happened.
It's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Is good joke.
It's good joke. It's good joke.
I asked my Loa, Yemaya, and my ancestors to ease their journeys.
Cool. Yep. And they're like that will be done. And when the time comes for settling up with Yemaya, she just says, just please go to the Gulf of Mexico and see what you can do with that mess down there. I'll help, but my people need it. So yeah. Any other questions, comments, suggestions, anything else that I can answer, or provide profound wisdom for, anything like that?
Sadly, I have to run.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
But-
Thank you for playing. That was awesome. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
Total blast.
Thank you, everybody.
Comment on your
good to
Deadly
meet
Hollows
everyone.
before you leave, Kevin. It's awesome.
Say again.
Oh, I like your Deadly Hollows and your lightsaber. I had to comment on that
Thank
before you
you.
left.
And is
Later,
that
everyone.
a Banksy
Okay.
in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's my
Wait.
wife's.
Cool.
Nice.
Take care. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.